A few minutes ago, Marcelian Online, which is like a really big World of Warcraft YouTube channel, made this video 16 minutes ago, 17 minutes. War Within feels different. Now let's see what they have to say because I think it feels different, but not really. I mean, I have a bad experience in War Within. I don't know why, but it just feels bad. Now let's see what they have to say. But I think it's not no bueno. No bueno. So let's see what it is or what it isn't.
Positive things here, and that is the current state of World of Warcraft, and how War Within is basically got us back to falling in love with this game. And it's weird because
Falling in love with World of I don't think so, man. What is falling in love with the game? It's mean playing every day for a lot of hours, 12, 14, 16 hours, right? Or can stop playing. But I don't think he will be playing that much. Let's see.
it's not about the season hasn't started yet. Usually we're
God,
getting excited because of the season, the new gear, the tier sets, and all of that. But this time around, it felt like all-time World of Warcraft new expansion. Just being happy to log in and do shit.
Well, they did take their sweet
Do shit, what shit? There's nothing to do. It's mythical zeros because the season hasn't started or whatever. It's normal and heroic raid where you find some people that if there's a half of the group leaves, and then you have to wait 30 more minutes to get a group, then you wipe again and they fucking link again. So what's there to love? What's there to do? It's a lot of fabricated thing. You spend 2 hours and maybe you are not completing even one boss or two bosses. Jesus.
time in prolonging the off-season period, which some people may not agree with, but we will tell you why this is one of the best decisions they could have made. And in no small part because, well, mostly I played the Season 1 of The War Within, and I'm happy not playing the Season 1 of The War Within just yet.
Okay, so yeah, obviously because of the nature of the content on this channel and stream, there was a lot of like beta stuff. So the guys and Arja as well, because she was there, I think, in almost all of the dungeons.
Oh yeah.
A lot of beta testing, Mythic Plus, and all of that. But to be fair, like apart from a couple of bosses you did on the raid testing,
Yeah, it's like 3 bosses or 4, I think.
yeah, so there wasn't that much on that front. But in terms of like the Mythic Plus and all of that, it was
done it all, literally from zero to hero.
Literally.
From the affixes you've had in Dragonflight to the affixes you're never gonna see ever again to the affixes that you will see eventually, unless we did it.
hopefully that will not paint or throw in a wrench in what has been at least 2 wonderful weeks
no, I don't think
of
so.
World of Warcraft. Now, what we saw in the comments on our videos and stuff, granted we didn't really do an actual video regarding the state of WoW, but I think the general perception and reception of War Within is no short of amazing.
It is very positive for sure, and we could probably draw a line after, let's say, Season 1 kind of
I wonder what is amazing. What is there amazing for this special? There's nothing amazing. Maybe the design of the world, which is great, I cannot lie, and the new zones, but other than that, I don't know, man. Jesus. Am I getting fucking old? Am I getting like a big old guy who doesn't like anything? I don't know. Maybe it's just this very first expansion. I don't know.
reaches its end to analyze the whole Season 1 with the raid and the dungeons. But as it stands right now, playing the first couple of weeks of the expansion, leveling, doing all the stuff, we're gonna go into it, like our favorite parts and what has been done good and what has been still good. It's mostly positive.
Yeah, I think there's one just teeny bit of criticism we can throw it at the end. Maybe we'll see.
It's teeny because there's a lot of good, but
yeah, there's a lot of good. So I think like one major thing we can address starting with this point is the promise they made and how was that fulfilled. Because when they presented War Within at BlizzCon, they really tried to sell this whole part of, guys, we really want to tell a cool story first. And did they deliver on that? We don't know. Okay, so we don't know what's going to happen, but the starting off point, like when we got into the War Within and started leveling, and then we got to the second week and so on and so forth.
Regarding leveling, I would say the leveling experience was kind of good because it was fast. There were not a lot of quests, and it took me like just a few hours, which is great. It didn't take me 12 hours, 14 hours. It took maybe like 6 hours, 7 hours, maybe something like that, maybe even faster. So it's great.
I think the start is basically a first part of what they would have been promising of delivering. So to give you a context, like me and Flame, we really wanted to care about the story of it, and care once again about the lore, right?
I think since the end of BFA, when we started to actually kind of drip off a little bit with the Nyloth JPEG, that's when the signs were like, dude, what's going on?
No. Yeah, so we wanted to get back into that because we're super geeks on that front. Both of us have like tons of books and comics with like the old stories and stuff, and we wanted to get back in that.
Yep.
Now, granted, there's still a lot of things that could be done, but we're not going to focus on that right now. The thing is, well, I was given a context. It's been a very long time since I had the urge to log in back to WoW just to carry on doing some new stories.
He's
within the
actually
game.
chained to the table right now.
Okay, so this guy loves the story. I mostly skip the story with everything else, so I cannot really talk about it. But I heard good things about the story, which I would believe, because I think they put more emphasis on the story, the world, the design, the music. Just going around World of Warcraft feels just better, or it looks more nice or nicer.
Now, so he doesn't rush
So I
home
don't
and then
know.
play
I
the
just
game.
cannot wait to get back because you play a lot on stream. Obviously, Mokti plays all the goddamn time. I don't know when the fuck he sleeps and edits and
He
stuff.
sleeps.
Yeah,
We know he
so
doesn't shower.
it's a weird thing because usually I get excited to like get back into WoW whenever there's like a new raid, a new Mythic Plus dungeons and stuff.
You just want to quest.
And now I just want to, do more quests, do more stories, discover more stuff. I didn't have this in Dragonflight because people talk about a lot about the honeymoon period, which is a real thing. We're not going to throw that to the garbage.
True.
Every new expansion comes with the honeymoon period. I remember this was in Shadowlands, I remember in BFA, I remember in the Dragonflight was like, oh my god, this expansion is so good, it's the best ever. That's the honeymoon period.
To be fair, to that point, all of the expansions that were kind of deemed bad, Warlords of Draenor, BFA, Shadowlands, actually had, if not an amazing, a really good starting period when it came to leveling through the zones and going through
Warlords
the
had
story.
a great starting point.
That was probably still
3
one
days of
the
no
best-
logging in, motherfucker.
No, I don't mean that. I mean the leveling and story experience.
Yeah,
like
I know
the
what you
actual
mean.
game
I know what you
content
mean.
from what is it, 100 to 110 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That was actually really good. The end game, the implementation of the systems later on, that's when, some of the bad expansions kind of trailed off, and, we know the history. But there are a lot of things that are going to make World Within great, and a lot of things that make it good now, and a lot of reasons why we actually enjoyed playing this time around, and what keeps us coming
weird.
back.
It's weird because when you think of us, like, judging it from the content that we do, it would appear that the most enjoyable thing for us is doing keys and progressing the raid.
It's actually, not really. I mean, we love it, but
it was, and this was such a breath of fresh air. And I can imagine this was the story for a lot of folks, actually. Because a lot of people went on to like play the game as Blizzard intended for the last couple of years, which is very seasonal, very, okay, once every couple of months you get to do new things and compete. That was it. But there was not really, a chill out, just, being in awe with everything that's happening in the game, because it is a game at the end of the day, and it's a freaking shame that this universe, this whole big, humongous, map of things to go to, and you have all of this previous expansions that you had that sense of wonder, you had that sense of, oh my god, I cannot get back in to like start leveling an alt or discover this or do that. It's what they did now is basically added the soul back into WoW for this.
I don't know if there's a soul into the game. Maybe if you are like a casual and you like doing quests and completion in content, but is World of Warcraft about this? I don't know. I think it's more about Mythic Plus, Mythic, the raid, the PvP. Now, maybe some guys or a lot of guys, they like professions, they like crafting, right? So questing, what is questing, man? You just go from left to right or left to right and you do some text. I- what is questing? It's bullshit.
This beginning of the expansion, I didn't feel the soul in Dragonflight. I didn't feel the heart. I didn't feel the connection. Now, one thing, and there's a lot of things, but
Sure.
this is
We
what,
can take them one at a time.
Yeah. For me, like the one thing that was very, very intriguing and it was pure love from my end was they actually went into the route. This is gonna sound a bit exaggerated, but hear me out. They went onto the route of The Witcher construction, in the sense that the side quests from The Witcher are potentially sometimes even more interesting than the actual story. Some of them. But regardless of all of the side quests, they're all kind of linked and they all feel they're part of this bigger story, or at least what you're doing in the current context. This hasn't happened in Dragonflight. I didn't feel that in Dragonflight. So talking about honeymoon periods or whatever, again, I realize that is a thing and we're probably living it as we speak. But one major difference between Dragonflight, I'm not even going to talk about Shadowlands and BFA, okay, dude? We will just forget about those, erase them. No, but just purely out of the fact that you went through the major campaign, and then, you know, as you do when you level up, you maybe pick up a random side quest or two. That's what I did.
Yeah.
And once I got into it and started reading the text and seeing the little stories and characters, I was hooked. I was like, oh my God, I need to pick up more. This is really cool.
Let's actually talk about that, because I think this is probably one of the biggest factors that pulled us in, and probably more people like it, is the questing and the comparison to Dragonflight. Because we talked about, I don't know if it was in a previous podcast or in a previous video, we talked about the leveling experience, and in Dragonflight, I actually felt like I was back into WoW, and it gave me that vanilla like wanderlust feelings, like, oh my God, it's a whole brand new world
and stuff.
And it was really cool, and the first few zones definitely capitalized on that, but the side quests were not all there. So if we're gonna put them side by side, The War Within and Dragonflight, The War Within are essentially all side quests belong to a living world. Everything makes sense. All of the side quests are kind of like filler story to the main campaign. They actually go into why certain characters are motivated to do what they do. They actually go explore, like if the main campaign is like go defend that wall because the bad guy is attacking us, the side quests are like, well, who's the bad guy? Why is the bad guy's lieutenant destroying that part of the wall? Let's go save that. But there's a family there that just moved in. Why did they move in? Well, because we came into the zone because of the bad guy. So all of this is not like just collect 15 wools from sheep.
I mean, you have that as well, but
yeah, but
even
no,
that
but I meant
is
it's
good.
not disconnected from the story, right?
For sure.
It's all woven and it's actually a part. Like what I like to say is that the majority, like 90% of the quests were probably just, this is the story of The War Within. Okay, what's the main campaign? So they choose kind of like the thick thread line of that. And then it's like, okay, then all of this that can still be main campaign, we're just gonna, you know, designated as side quests. So that made it feel like the world actually is alive, like things.
I cannot even watch the full video because they are fucking curious. They are talking about questing, about whatever. War Within feels different. No, it feels the same. Mythical wise, heroic wise, raid wise, PvP wise, the same. Maybe it's a little bit improved with Warband, with the war, with quest, maybe, but this is very subjective. So, is World of Warcraft better? I think not. I think they should introduce some new mechanics, some new battleground maps, some new arena maps, some more, I don't know, more talents, more ways for characters to play. Maybe something like items that give you special powers, you know? Or the sets for Monk, for example, is boring. I think every tier set is boring in The War Within. So, what are we talking about?